All right, so on to tier number 3 of the 2020 quarterbacks. In this tier, we have 2 quarterbacks that I would say are more projects that have the physical potential, but their overall quarterback game needs more than a little bit of development. And so, again, go to the video in the description section if you want to check out the original video with Joe Burrow. That kind of sets up what I look for in quarterbacks and all that good stuff. And so that's what we're going to work on. So in this video or in this tier I should say, we have Justin Herbert from Oregon and we have Jordan Love from Utah State. So let's start off with Justin from Oregon. So big dude, elite size, we know 6'6", almost 240, probably plays at 240. Real physical specimen and has a gun. So when we're talking about the physical part, it's definitely there. Plus velocity, plus distance. Gave him a level 4.5 arm. Definitely has a bit of a cannon. And not too bad as a mobile quarterback either. I don't think he's a scrambler by any means, but definitely somebody that isn't a statue in the pocket. I think that he can run a little bit of the option plays and he can pick you up some yards in the situation. So there's that. So outside of that, that's where a lot of the issues come. So number one, his throwing mechanics, I'm not a fan of. And it's very weird because Herbert, when he's on the move, I think he has perfect mechanics. Like throwing on the run, his arm gets perfectly vertical to 90. It's a nice release point. It's a good throwing stroke, everything. But when it's not on the run, when it's from the pocket, it's very sidearm. I don't particularly like it. Obviously, he has a really nice release and he's able to push it with velocity, but still not a fan of the mechanics. I do like his lower body mechanics. I think they're good. I don't think they're necessarily super consistent or great, but I think for the most part, he doesn't throw off one foot. He doesn't throw with just his arm or any of that. I think he ties his upper body and lower body pretty decently. Now, the pocket. This is one of the first areas that's an issue. And again, for me, I think a big transition for quarterbacks. Don't think his feet are that active. I think he likes to stand still in the pocket like a lot of these quarterbacks do. And good reaction time as far as his agility. So he's athletic enough to move. But I like to see your feet more active and buzzing and ready to go. Elusiveness. He's big, but I honestly don't think he's that hard to take down. He's a long target, so, his legs or whatever, you could grab him. He does weigh a good amount, so it's not like you could just push him down like a feather. So, but I don't think he's Big Ben or anything. I do think he's not going to out-juke anybody or outrun anybody, but I do think he could hold off a tackle while he gets rid of the ball. And his awareness, I think, is average. Honestly, I don't think he sees pressure well. I don't think he feels the pocket very well unless it's just right in front of him. And so that goes to his manipulation as well. I think he's a type of guy that likes to escape out the back and roll out a lot. And honestly, he throws from the pocket pretty decently. Like, I don't think he sees ghosts. I don't think he sees much, to be honest. But when he does want to get out, I think he just rolls out. And you got to be able to step up in the pocket and deliver a throw. And he's done it time to time, so I've seen him that he's able to do it. But most consistently, he's just trying to roll out the pocket if he's trying to escape. And so I gave him about above average as far as pocket manipulation. And then throwing against pressure and contact. This is where it's kind of weird. Like, I think he'll take the hit. He'll throw against a hit, but it's not a good throw. I mean, the accuracy is not great. I don't think the hit rate's good. But honestly, we'll get to it later. I don't think his accuracy is good anyway. So there's that. Throwing on the run, again, very weird because I love his mechanics. Looks perfect. not a good thrower on the run. His accuracy almost always is bad, which is interesting because most quarterbacks on the run is where they're better in their accuracy and better in their velocity. To me, Herbert just missed some easy passes while on the run. And so, of course, he could throw it hard and it could get there fast, but I didn't like his accuracy. And then reading through progression, very similar to Mariota. The Oregon offensive system has been similar for a long time. I do feel like he reads half the field, which is a good starting point to me. But as I've seen with Mariota, it hasn't been the leg up for him that we thought. But this is a different quarterback, so maybe it will be. But what it seems like is there's two concepts, kind of old school play side, backside concepts type stuff. And based off alignment, you pick which side of the field you want to work. And so he stares at that side of the field, but he's not staring at one player. He's just staring at the concept to see which one's going to come open. And so the issue with that, of course, is that you got it. First of all, the pre-snap alignment is in the NFL could be very different than what coverage they're actually playing, because some defenses will disguise things. But then also you're cutting off half the options if you only read in one part of the field. And so it's better to me than saying, hey, this is the one player you're going to, and they just stare at that one player. But at the same time, it's still not what you want out of a quarterback. And I think he can get to 1 and 2 as far as his reads. I do think he tends to lock on to his number one target, though. And then on top of that is Oregon. There's a lot of prescribed plays where they tell him where to go. And so his ability to process information, or at least the opportunity to do it, wasn't there a lot. And so I think I don't think there's anything significant about his ability to read coverage. I think it's just above average. Decision making, I put above average. And again, that kind of comes with the prescribed plays, because that takes care of the down and distance. But I didn't like it that much. I don't think he played the chains well. And this is when you get quarterbacks where it's like you need yards and they're throwing short of the first down. You know, it's 3rd and 8 and they're throwing a 3-yard pass, or they're scrambling for 2 yards, and whatever it is, they're playing it safe. Or when you need to get a short gain and you're taking like a chunk, or you're taking a shot down the field, like just those situational decision making, I didn't like it that much. I didn't. I also don't feel like he uses his scrambling ability to his advantage either. And so whenever it's, again, not a prescribed play, it seems like his decision making isn't the best. But I gave him above average. Now, the real problem I have, this is what could have put him in the tier above if this was corrected. His accuracy is crazy all over the place. And I mean all over the place. Short, medium, deep ball, all that I think is sporadic. And one thing to me that scares me is a sporadic quarterback. I mean, of course, if a quarterback just has no accuracy, that's bad. But even I just feel like a quarterback that you know isn't strong at a certain type of thing, that's at least consistent, you know what you can do with it. When it's sporadic, it's tough to me, because it's like I don't like that uncertainty. And so there have been times, of course, there'll be highlights and blah, 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 where you can see some good touch. But honestly, I think he throws behind receivers a lot on crossing routes, which are supposed to be easier, and slant routes as well. I think he leads receivers into bad areas sometimes. I think his deep ball accuracy doesn't have good placement or command of it. And so, yeah, I just think his accuracy is really all over the place. And that scares me more than anything else that I talked about with Herbert. So, yeah, there's that. I mean, again, physically, I think he's mobile enough. He can extend some plays. if you need him to. I think he could pick you up some yards. He's not just going to be a statue back there. And he's got the cannon. He's got the cannon on his arm. And so that's a big deal. But everything else as far as his quarterback ability, I think is lacking. And so the pocket thing, I'm most confident he could get better at soon. The whole IQ part, again, I think this is a project. I think this is one of those spread quarterbacks that you really gotta figure out as a person what he's able to take in and then build off of, because at this point it's very different than the pro style offense. And so, yeah. And then the accuracy, that's really the other scary part. All right, so after Herbert, we go over to Jordan Love from Utah State. Now, this is one of my principles here, and this is a reason why. A lot of people are just like, oh, man, he was so much better last year. He was so much better last year. This, and this. And then I'm just like, for me, one of my rules is always been I watch current tape only. I don't go back and watch all the other years, because I wouldn't say it doesn't matter as much. Your current tape is what you're getting. And so, again, I've always said, if the previous tape is better, it's only one or two reasons. Injury or regression. Neither one of them is good. And so I don't want to see what you were. I want to see what you are. What am I taking right now? And so fully understanding that everybody's saying Jordan Love looked different last year. Respectfully, I don't care too much, to be honest about that. So looking at Jordan Love, I was shocked. I was just like, I don't understand what the hype is. And so here's the biggest thing before anything, because obviously, as you heard about Herbert, if you're in this tier, I don't think you have great quarterback skills. But the thing that really got me is I don't think Jordan Love has a great arm. And a lot of people were talking about him in those terms. And honestly, I watched, and he has a good amount of tape. I watched probably every game twice, because I'm just trying to really make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. And eventually I said, look, I don't see a great arm. I gave him a level 3.5 arm out of 5. Now, I did give him some plus velocity. So I think he has a great release, a really quick release that helps with timing. And again, I talk about with Joe Burrow, I talked about timing versus raw velocity. And so I've seen some people talking about his ability to throw off platform with velocity and all that, which to an extent, yes, but there was one play, and I forgot what game it was against, but or which team it was, but there was a play, kind of like a Hail Mary play, and he got out of pocket, bought some time, stepped up and put everything into it, and that ball was so underthrown. I'm like, wait a minute. If you got a huge arm and you put one up and you can't even get it that far down the field, that's an issue. He wasn't being hit. It was clean. And so that was an eye-opener. And then just some of the other stuff. Again, throwing wire under contact and all that good stuff. I personally did not see a big-time arm that everybody's talking about. And so there's some other things we'll talk about, but that was my number one. So I think he's a bit of he's a pretty decently mobile quarterback. I wouldn't say he's Jalen Hurts or anything like that, but he definitely has the ability to move. As far as like the mechanics, not a big fan. Got a real nasty wind up, a lot of wasted motion, bit of a sidearm thrower. Lower body mechanics are bad. Almost the worst. There's one guy that's worse than me or to me, but Lower body mechanics, didn't like it. Very, very, very extremely inconsistent. Now, the one thing I do like about Jordan Love is his pocket for the most part. So I like his feet, very active, though that's the way you want it. Um, his awareness, I don't think is strong, but his manipulation, I think, is pretty decent. He climbs and make throws pretty consistently. That part I was shocked about. If the pocket is natural, I think he knows how to climb up in the pocket and make a throw, and it almost looks like second nature. And so I really like that he has that muscle memory. The problem comes in when the pocket isn't natural. So, the natural kind of arc to a pocket, and then you just step up as the pass rush comes off the edge. That's natural. But when you got pressure coming straight through the A gap, or there's a twist or a stunt, and or there's pressure off the left but not the right, when the pocket's not natural arc, that's when he has problems. I don't think he senses that pressure well. And when it happens, he doesn't really know where to go in the pocket. But I do like, consistently in the natural pocket, he steps up and makes throws. So that part gives me some confidence. And I think he is elusive to a point in the pocket, or as far as a pocket thrower, but I think he's easy to take down. I think he goes down pretty easily. So now him throwing against pressure and contact, I thought was bad. I don't think there's any completion if he's throwing against a defender. If he's about to get hit and puts the ball up, I don't think it's getting completed. I think the accuracy is really bad against contact and extremely low hit rate. On the run was fine. Extending plays, all that good stuff. But reading progression, I think he forces the ball to his first receiver. Not to his first receiver. I think he will extend the play at times, but I still think he likes to force the ball because, as I mentioned before, he's a little bit of a gunslinger. And part of that I'm okay with when it's like you have the confidence to try something instead of taking the short stuff all the time. But he trusts his arm a little too much, and I don't think his arm is as good as he thinks it is. And so he'll definitely extend the play. He'll look around. He'll do kind of that Mahomes thing, Aaron Rodgers thing that people like right now. But I don't think the results are always that good. And I honestly didn't see him like attack a play right away. So it's one thing to extend the play when it breaks down, but when the play is set up and there's a target to get to, I didn't see him like strike a defense. And then decision making, I put below average. I mean, if you saw it, he gambles a lot. He gets in trouble. He forces the ball, doesn't protect it. He doesn't play the chains well. As far as going after first downs, the man was picked off in every game that I watched, and some of them were just horrible. And so I know there's talk again about, he don't have the same players or the same coaches. Bro, the coaches ain't throwing that ball for him in those situations. He threw those interceptions, and they were terrible. And so that kind of goes back to the accuracy. So I think, and this is the thing, I think his accuracy isn't horrible. I think the short to medium stuff is average and can be a little sporadic as far as ball placement. But I think his deep ball accuracy is okay. And really, his accuracy is not great. But I think the biggest part is that he does not have the arm. He does not have the arm to throw it at the times he does. He doesn't have enough anticipation to throw it at the times that he does. And so if you can't force the ball to travel faster across the field, then you got to throw it with better timing. And I don't think he has either one right now. And so obviously, listening to me, I don't think there's a whole lot to like about Jordan Love. And I definitely think he's a project. But I know he's got a lot of hype right now. And the thing I'll say about Love and Herbert is that they both were in the Senior Bowl. So I'm looking forward to sitting down watching the Senior Bowl, watching the practices at some point and trying to see what they look like with a pro style system. Because sometimes it is different. That Senior Bowl, that's one of the big things with quarterbacks, is you get to see them with some pro coaching. And so we'll see how fast they can adapt to it. But overall, I don't see it with them as far, not that they can ever be good, but I just think these are two guys that's going to take a lot more work to really get to the point that you want. So that's my thoughts. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about Herbert and Love. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.